Good morning, students. In today's class of Managing Change in Organization, we start with a new topic, that is group dynamics. In the previous class, we studied what are the stages of group formation. We have understood the various 5 stages of group formation and also critical appraisal of the stages. In today's class, we continue with another topic, that is group dynamics. When we say group dynamics, group is a combination or aggregation of two or more people who have interaction between them, who have interdependent roles, and there is a particular cohesiveness between the members of the group. And when we say dynamics, dynamics means force. So when we say group dynamics is a set of behavioral and physiological processes that occur within a social group or between groups. So this occurs between social group or between groups. So it is a set of behavioral and psychological processes. Group dynamics deals with the attitudes and behavioral patterns of a group. So how the group interact with each other, how the members interact with each other, their attitudes, their behavior patterns, their functioning, all these things comes under the heading of group dynamics. Group dynamics is concerned with the interactions and forces operating between groups. So it concerned with the interactions and forces operating between the members of the group. In practice, each member of the group affects the behavior of other members and in turn is also affected by them. So the behavior of the group, when we say, is not only his behavior of one person, each member is affected by the behavior of other members, but they're also affected by the members' behavior of the other members. Now, when we say uh, this group dynamics is concerned how the groups are formed, what is their structure, and what is the processes that are followed in their functioning. So all these things are come under the group dynamics, how they interact, how they function, how they develop, what are the various processes involved in it. So we have studied about how the group is formed, the stages of group development, what are the types of groups. Now we'll be studying more about the behavior of the group, how the group interacts and behaves with one another. That is the main thing we'll be studying. We'll be studying the factors affecting the group behavior, or becomes a part of the group dynamics. As group behavior means the behavior of its members. Each member has a particular behavior in the group. That behavior is not only, as we studied in the previous slide, not only affects the other members of the group, but the behavior of other members also affect him. So it's a two-way process. So the nature and the pattern of reinforcement of the members, the nature and the pattern of the reinforcements of the members, the practices they have, interactions they have, all these things are included between included in the group dynamics. Group dynamics may be caused as a means of problem solving, teamwork, and to become more innovative and productive as an organization as a whole. Why this group dynamics is important? Because once we understand the group dynamics, the way the behavior of one person affects the other people of the group, and how the group dynamics happen in a group, then we try to improve the group dynamics of the organization, and in that way we will increase the effectiveness of the group. So we will be studying on the group behavior and what are the factors that affects the group behavior. When we say what are the factors that affect the group behavior, the first thing that comes to the mind is group member resources. When we say group member resources, it means the members' knowledge, abilities, skills, and personality characteristics are the resources of the group members that they bring in with them. So the knowledge, abilities, skill sets, and the personality characteristics, all these things that the group members have that bring into the group, these are known as the resources of the group. The success depends upon these resources as useful to the task. The success obviously depends upon these resources, because these resources will ensure that the group will do a task in a better or way, or a better mm, decisions will be taken in the group. So the knowledge, ability, skills, and personality characteristics of the group members are nothing but the group member resources. Now, the second thing which we need to know, not only understand the behavior of the group and understand the dynamics of the groups, is the group structure. Under group structure, the first things we need to know is group size. What should be the proper group size? Group size can vary from 2 people to a very large number of people. So the group may start anything more than 2 people, and it can continue to a very big number or large number of people. Small groups are found to be more effective than large groups. It has been seen from the studies that the small groups tend to be more effective than the large groups. And when we say small groups, they may be 2 to 10 people, are thought to be more effective because each member has ample opportunity to take part and engage in the group more actively. Large group may are not very much active because they waste time in deciding on the processes. It is very difficult to come to consensus among the group members. Trying to decide and what should be the role of each and every member of the group. All these things delays the decision making process. All these things delays the effect. Delays not only delays the decision making process but also reduces the effectiveness of the group. Evidence supports that the notion that the size of the group, as the size of the group increases, the satisfaction increases also up to a certain point. Increasing the size of a group beyond 10 to 12 members results to decrease satisfaction. Why? Because when we keep on increasing the number of people in the group, then it will create a lot of problem, because they will not be able to play their roles properly. There will be a lot of commotion, chaos, and conflict between the group members. So obviously, the members of the group will not be anymore satisfied. So if the studies have shown that if the number of group increases more than 10 to 12 members in the group, then it will result in the group satisfaction. So it is increasingly difficult for members of large groups to identify with one another and experience the feeling of cohesion or cohesiveness. So it is better to have the group size between 2 to 10 people in the group, so that the cohesiveness will be more, the people will be more satisfied. Each and every person of the group will be able to understand the roles assigned to them and will able to play the roles in a more proper manner, thereby resulting in the effectiveness of the group. Now, coming to another, apart from the group size, the second thing that affects the group dynamics is the group roles. Sorry, group roles. When we say role means a set of expected behavior pattern attached to a particular position or a post. When we say this is the role of a particular person, then it means the expected behavior pattern that he is allowed, and this is attached generally to a particular position or post he has in the group. Each role shall have specific responsibilities and duties. Each role in the of the that the group member has, they will have specific responsibilities and duties attached with that role. And in formal groups, the roles are always predetermined and assigned to the members. So as we have studied, there are two types of groups, that is formal groups and informal groups. In formal groups, the roles are always predetermined and assigned to the members. But roles are not usually explicitly prescribed in the informal groups. But in informal groups, there is no set criteria of predetermined assignment of these roles. The group members may be expected to performance variety of different roles. The group members are expected to perform a variety of different roles. The group roles can be classified into work roles, maintenance roles, and blocking roles. When we discuss about the group roles may be of three kinds. That will be work role, maintenance role, and blocking role. So what we have understood from this group roles means group roles are nothing but a set of behavioral pattern that is attached to a particular position or a post, and each role shall have certain specific responsibilities and duties. Scientists have found that to use the term role because it means a set of expected behavior pattern that is attached to a position. In an organization, the employee's role is briefly indicated by the position or the title he is having, and the job description that is need to follow. Groups usually designated and assigned in formal groups, but in informal groups, the roles are not particularly assigned. The group roles may again be, as we have understood, divided into three types, that is work roles, maintenance roles, and blocking roles. We'll be understanding all the three roles one by one. Now coming to the first role, that is the work role. The work roles are task-oriented activities that involve accomplishing the group goals. So when we say work roles are task-oriented activities. These activities are oriented towards completion of tasks and that involve accomplishing the group goals. Whatever the group goals are there, in order to accomplish that, there are certain tasks that need to be completed. So the work roles are concerned with the completion of these tasks in order to accomplish the group's goals. They involve a variety of specific roles, such as the workflows will be a variety, such as initiator, informer, clarifier, summarizer, and reality tester. So these are the various workflows that are assigned to the members of the group. But we have to remember that these roles relate to work-oriented activities involved in accomplishing the group task or the group goals. So developing a strategy for accomplishing the task, assigning the job, evaluating the work progresses, clarifying the group goals are the examples of some of the major roles that has been performed by the members of the group. When we say each of these, when we say there's a lot of roles are associated with it. So as we have discussed, that is initiator, informer, clarifier, summarizer, and reality testers. Let us understand each of these roles in a brief manner. When we say that the role of a initiator means somebody who initiate the task. He will always be the person who wants to start the task in the in the group, and the informal role involves finding the facts and giving advice or opinions. So informal's role is to find the facts and give advice or opinion to the members. The clarifiers will interpret ideas, define terms, and clarify issues for the group. So their role is majorly to clarify what are the various problems that is in the group, what are the various ways in which the group task doubts will be clarified. And summarizers restate suggestions, offer decisions, and come to conclusions for the group. So they totally summarize the what are the activities of the group, what are the tasks, they summarize about the suggestions, the various decisions that the group has made, and also help the group to come to a conclusion regarding a particular goal. And then finally, when we say reality testers analyze the ideas and test the idea in real situation. When we say there is a particular idea that can be applied for a particular task, how the task can be completed, this idea is generally tested by this reality testers. So these are the various work roles: initiator, informer, clarifier, summarizer, and reality tester that the members of the group are following, generally follow. These are the work roles. Now coming to the second roles that the members of the group generally follow are maintenance roles. What is maintenance roles? Maintenance roles are the social emotional activities that helps members maintain their involvement in the group and raise their personal commitment to the group. So they are mostly concerned with the social emotional activities that the members of the group perform in order to be a part of the group, involve themselves in the group, and also to raise their personal commitment to the group. So These activities are generally aimed at increasing the involvement and personal commitment to the group. And when we say maintenance rules, the maintenance rules are of also many kinds, just like work rules. They are like harmonizer, gatekeeper, consensus tester, encourager, and compromiser. So examples of maintenance of these rules may be encouraging other people members to participate, praising or rewarding the other members. So these are all the examples of maintenance rules. But these are designed to maintain a friendly group atmosphere. The maintenance rules has this uh, designed so as to keep a friendly atmosphere in the group. The maintenance rules again we have discussed is to be harmonizer, gatekeeper, consensus tester, encourager, and compromiser. So when we say, let us understand each of these rules in a little bit descriptive manner. When we say harmonizer, the harmonizer will reduce the tension of the group and reconcile the differences. He will explore more opportunities. So he will harmonize the group. The gatekeepers often communicate at the communication channels open and make suggestions that encourage participation. So what that means, they are the general gatekeepers of the communication channel that is happening within the group, and so that they encourage the suggestion and participation of the members. The consensus tester will ask if the group is nearing a decision and test possible conclusion. The role is to see whether the consensus is being reached in a while taking a decision. The decision while will be studying decision making, we should keep in mind that decision is generally taken either through a majority vote or through a consensus. So the role of a consensus tester is to see whether the group is nearby or nearing a decision that it can be reached through this consensus. Encouragers are friendly, warm, and responsive to other group members. So they encourage these members to perform. And finally, the last maintenance role, that is the compromiser. Their role involves modifying decisions, offering compromises, and admitting errors. Their role is to see that they can modify the decisions. They will offer more compromises to see that the task that has been assigned is done, and they also the role is to see that they will admit the errors that is occurring while the various roles are being performed. So these are the main maintenance roles that is being followed by the members of the group. Apart from the maintenance role, the third kind of group roles is blocking roles. Blocking roles, when we say what are the blocking roles are the activities that disrupt the group. So the normal functioning of the group is disrupted due to this blocking roles. The blocking roles may be are various types as aggressor, blocker, dominator, comedian, and avoidance behavior. And these blockers will stubbornly resist the group ideas, and they will disagree with group members for personal reasons and will have hidden agendas. So all these things are included when we say these are the blocking roles that are being done. And their work, they may take the form of this aggressor, blocker, dominator, comedian, and avoidance behavior. Oftentimes, the blocking role may not be intended as negative. Sometimes it is negative, but sometimes it is not negative. Sometimes a member may share a joke in order to break a tension or to break the ice or to help the people to question any authority. So all these things is done in order to break the ice. So blocking roles may not always be a negative one. It sometimes may be a positive one. So let us discuss all the various roles that are coming under the blocking roles. The first, let us take the example of an aggressor. Aggressor criticizes the members' values and makes jokes in a sarcastic or semi-concealed manners. So they will be sarcastically making jokes and in a concealed manner. So what happens? This creates problem in the group. So this is one of the major blocking rules. Blockers will stubbornly resist the group ideas. They will disagree with the group members for personal reasons or hidden agenda. So their role will be to block the members. They have their hidden agendas or personal reasons, and they'll try to disagree with everything. The dominant role is to attempt to control conversations by patronizing others. So they'll try to dominate the decision making. They'll try to interrupt. So this is the role that will be generally used by this uh, mm, dominator roles. Comedians are often who abandon the group even though they may physically still be a part. They are attention getters in this, and they are not relevant to the accomplishment of the group's objectives. So they are mostly interested in making fun in the group, and they are mostly interested in to see that to break the ice, or in order to they break make a joke in order to break the tension that happens in the group. And finally, the uh, blocking role that generally follows is avoidance behavior. It involves pursuing goals and related to the group by changing the subject and avoid commitment to the group. So that role is to avoid any commitment and to see that the group from avoid the group from any particular subject or commitment in the group. So these are the various roles that are coming under the blocking roles. So the total group roles may be divided into three heads, that is work role, maintenance role, and blocking roles. And each of the work roles, maintenance role, and blocking roles have other various roles as we have discussed. So apart from that, we should also in the in the group roles, we should also understand about group identity. Group identity. Group, when we say group identity, these are certain attitudes and actual behavior consistent with the role that create the role identity. Role identity is better when the roles are clearly defined. So what are role identity? Role identity are certain attitudes and actual behaviors consistent with the role. So these are certain attitudes that are consistent with the role. So when we say this is the particular role, the identity, the role identity gives the various attitudes and behavior that is related to that role. And these role identity will become more when the roles are much more clearly defined. On the contrary, if the roles are not properly defined, the role will become clouded. There will be no clarity. People shift roles very rapidly, and when there is change in situation and demand for change is also recognized, then also there will be change of the role. Example, let us give an example. When a union leader are promoted as to foreman positions, their attitudes changes from pro worker to pro management once they are promoted. So previously they were pro worker, but once they are elevated to the post of the foreman, their behavior becomes pro management. So depending upon the role they are doing, their behavior changes. So this is role identity. Next comes role ambiguity. What is role ambiguity? Role ambiguity refers to the discrepancy between the defined role and the perceived role. So what is the original role and what do we perceive? This the difference. If there is difference between that, then it will lead to role ambiguity. This is a confusion resulting from the delegation of job responsibility. It generally results from confusion that results from delegation of job responsibility. Many times, some jobs do not have job descriptions in writing, and when employees are asked to do something, they are confused. Role ambiguity is harmful for the employees because when the employees or the members of the group do not properly know what are the various roles that they should follow and where is the role they should perform, then it will cause a problem. The evil consequences of role ambiguity are frustration. It generally leads to frustration. Then also relate to, apart from frustration, this may also relate to job dissatisfaction, stress, and tension. And finally, extreme role ambiguity will result in absenteeism and turnover of the employees. So this is role ambiguity is not always good. which is always harmful for the people. So there should be clarity in the role, there should be proper role identity. The third thing that should be understood in group roles is role conflict. Role conflicts of occurs generally when there is an inconsistency between perceived role and the role behavior. If there is inconsistency between what is the perceived role and what is the actual role behavior, then it will lead to conflict. Thus, when a person is confronted by divergent role expectations, this is called as the role conflict. When the person has confronted is facing a very divergent or very different uh, role, the divergent or different role inconsistency, divergent role expectation, this is called as the role conflict. People in their lives play a different amounts of roles. The roles may be different. While on the job, one performs the role of a servant, the same person performs the role of a husband in a family. So if a person is a servant in a particular organization, or is a working in a particular post in organization, he may be having his personal role in the family. So this professional and personal role will always create conflict in the mind of the person. Some many times the roles are compatible, whereas sometimes the roles are conflicting. So this is a problem. Role conflict emerges due to the when there is a compliance between one role and the requirement makes it difficult to the compliance with another role. The role conflicting occurs in such a situation. In most extreme cases, when two or more are in turn mutually contradictory and conflicting, it will result in the complete uh, the destruction of the employee. The employee will be completely at a loss. So this is the problem with role conflict. And finally, coming to role expectation. In simple words, role expectations are what other people believe you should have in a given situation. So what the people expect, that what is the role you should perform in a particular situation, is nothing but the role expectation. How you behave is determined by the role defined in the context you are behaving and acting. Example, the role of a professor is believed to be having sincerity, dignity. Whereas when it comes to a football coach, it means he should be aggressive, he should be very dynamic, and should be able to inspire others. So these are the expectations that are attached with the particular role. So when we say the role of a university professor, we feel that the role expectation will be that he should be sincere, should have dignity, should be knowledgeable. But same things when it comes to a football coach, then we feel that he should be aggressive, dynamic, and should be inspiring to the others. So this is the way role ambiguity, role identity, role conflict, role expectations impact the group roles. And these group roles may be work roles, maintenance role, or the blocking roles that are there in the group. These roles have to be performed by the members of the group. So apart from the group roles, the third point that we should keep in mind while understanding the group dynamics of a group is the group norms. Group norms are nothing but the rules. Norms are nothing but the rules and regulations of the group. Sometimes these norms are explicitly written, and sometimes these norms are implicitly understood. So we'll understand what are the group norms and how it affect the group dynamics. Norms define the acceptable standard or boundaries of acceptable and unacceptable behavior shared by the group members. When we say group norms, do we understand the boundaries of the acceptable and unacceptable behavior that is shared by the group members? They are typically created in order to facilitate the group survival, make group behavior more predictable, avoid embarrassing situations, and express the value of the group. So the group norms have certain uh, reasons, certain goals. First thing is they have facilitated the group survival. If there are no group norms, the group cannot survive because it will lead to anarchy and chaos. So it is required for the group survival. Second, it makes the behavior more predictable. Once we know the group norms, we can know in which way the members of the group will be behaving. So it will be easier to understand and predict the behavior of the group. And also it will avoid from the embarrassing situations, because the members will not create a situation that is embarrassing, because they know these are the norms through which they have to uh, function. And finally, this group norms also express the values of the group. It will tell you what are the values of the group. So this in this way, the group norms are very important. Now, norms may be formal or informal. When we say the norms are formal, then it means that they are rigidly or explicitly put it in writing, whereas informal, they used to be implicitly understood by the group members. Now, the majority of the group must agree that the norms are appropriate in order the behavior to be expected or accepted. So what the majority of the people in the group, they must accept the group norms. Then only it will be considered appropriate in order to understand the behavior of the group. If they are not accepted, then it will create problem. Now each group will create its own norms, and that might determine from their work performance. In each group will be having different norms, and the norms of one group may or may not be similar to the other group. Let us say, let's take the examples of uh, that with the size and the increase in the size of the group, the acceptability of the norms tend to lessen. We have seen that when the size of the group changes, then it will be resulting in the acceptability of norms will be less. There are various types of norms. If we try to understand what are the various types of norms, there are certain performance norms which determine how quickly the members should work or how they should produce or function. They are created in an effort to determine the levels of individual effort. Members of a group may have different skills and abilities, but the ability to perform is related with the performance norms of the group. For example, workmen may stop working before 1 hour from the closure of time, or half an hour from the closure of quitting time, because they want to prepare for the closure, like they may go for washing of their hands and legs. All these things should be done. So the performance norms determine how quickly the members should work and how efficiently they should work. Similarly, the reward and allocation norms determine how the rewards are bestowed upon the group members. Sometimes it may be no equality basis, like all the members of the group will get equal reward and allocations. There are also equity norms. Equity norms suggest that the rewards are distributed according to the members' contribution. So the person, any member of the group who performs better, who contributes better, will have a better uh, reward system. So in this way, the equity norms are also present. So the members who have special needs are therefore receive a larger share for the um, larger share for the reward. Now we have also understood that the groups, a majority of the group must agree, otherwise they cannot be accepted and the norms cannot be accepted. There must be a shared understanding that the groups support the norms. It is very important to understand that the group should support the norms. If the groups do not support the norms, it will create a problems. These norms serve as the basis for behavior of the group members. Norms are applied to all members of the group, but they may not be uniform. If the majority of the people, of the members, do not adhere to particular norms, they will eventually change and will no longer serve as a standard or a benchmark for evaluating the behavior. So what is required, that in order that this norm should be considered as a benchmark for evaluating the behavior of the members, it is essential to understand that the majority of the group members should be adhering and should be supporting the norms. The group's members who do not conform to these norms may be sometimes be punished Group members who do not conform to these norms may be sometimes be punished by being excluded or ignored or asked to leave the group. The punishment can be either in the form of being excluded from the group, or they will be asked to leave the group. So in this way, these norms are enforced in the groups. And why these group norms are required? Because these group norms will give us the boundaries of acceptable and unacceptable behavior of the group members, and these are shared by the group members. So this is the way these group norms has an impact on the group dynamics and how the group perform and how the group function in the organization. Now coming to the another type of point, apart from group roles, group size, group norms, there is group cohesiveness. When we say group cohesiveness, cohesiveness refers to the bonding of group members and the desire to remain part of the group. When we say group is very cohesive, we can say that the group members want to, there is a bonding between the members and they want to remain a part of the group. Then only we can say that the group is having this cohesiveness or cohesion power. Cohesiveness binds all the members of the group to work as one man or team to attain a set of goals. It is very important to understand, because this cohesiveness is very important because it binds the total group members to work as one man or one team in order to attain the set goals, the group goals they want to accomplish. Many factors influence the amount of group cohesiveness. When we say there should be group cohesiveness, the amount of group cohesiveness is dependent on various factors. What are the various factors? Agreement on group goals. There must be a particular agreement of the members about the group goals. Then there will be cohesion. Otherwise, there will be fighting or conflict. Downsizing the group, because the smaller the group, the more will be the cohesion. The larger the group, the less there will be cohesion. Increasing interaction between members. Obviously, when there is increased interaction between the members of the group, there will be more cohesion. But whereas if there is no interaction between the members of the group, they are not communicating properly, then the group cohesion will be reduced. Similarly, increasing the membership homogeneity. When we say homogeneity, means the members should be homogeneous. All the members should have similar characteristics or similar features or similar attitudes. When people have similar attitudes, similar beliefs, similar goals, personal goals, their membership becomes more homogeneous, then there will be more group cohesion. Whereas if there is a heterogeneous group of people, then the kind of group cohesion will be reduced. Also, intergroup competition. When there is intergroup competition, competition between two groups, each group want to perform better than the other group. In such situations also, the group members will be more cohesive because they want to act together, work as one man and one team in order to attain the set of goals and to prove them that they're better than the other groups. So this is where are the factors that influence the group cohesiveness. Highly cohesive groups may be more vulnerable to group things. Even though the group cohesiveness is required and is important, it should be also remembered that if the group becomes more and more cohesive, it becomes more and more vulnerable to groupthink. What is groupthink? Groupthink occurs when the members of a group exert pressure on each other to come to a consensus or decision. So, if there is more group cohesion, each member will put pressure on other members so as to reach the consensus in decision making. So, this is something which creates problems. Group think results in careless judgments, unrealistic appraisals of alternative courses of action, and lack of reality testing. So these are the problems that result from the group think. And this group think occurs when there is high group cohesiveness in the groups. Evidence suggests that groups typically outperform individuals when the task involves that require a variety of skills, experience, and decision making. Obviously, when there is a task which requires a lot of skills, varied skills, experience, and the various types of decisions that has to be taken, obviously the individual cannot perform and the groups outperform these tasks. Thus, the effectiveness of the organization is limited to the effectiveness of its groups. Therefore, we can say that the effectiveness of the organization is dependent upon the effectiveness of these groups. So, these groups are very important, and there should be proper cohesion among these group members. Organizations have found that these groups have motivational aspects also. Group members are more likely to participate in decision making, problem solving, and various activities leading to the empowerment and increased productivity. Groups complete most of the work in the organization. Therefore, the effectiveness of the organization is limited or is dependent upon the effectiveness of the group. The more the effective the group are, the more will be the organization will be effective. Apart from the group cohesiveness, there's another factor that impacts the group dynamics is group processes. What are the various group processes? There are many group processes. One of the major important group processes includes decision making. Decision making is the process whereby a final and the best choice is made among the alternatives available. So out of all the alternatives available, the groups try to find the best alternative or the best choice that will solve the purpose. We solve the problem and help them to achieve the goals of the organization. When groups make decisions, it may be either through the consensus or through the majority vote. Either all the members try and reach the same decision, so there will be consensus among the members, or sometimes there may be majority vote. If there is some disagreement also, we will see what is the decision that the majority of the group members support, and then we take that majority of group vote as the final decision. The group decision making process involves generally four major steps: diagnosing the problem, what is the problem, and then developing the alternatives, trying to find the various alternatives to solve the problems, evaluating all of the alternatives, trying to find out the analyzing each and every alternative, evaluating each and every alternative, and implementation and monitoring the decision. Finally, selecting the best alternative and see that it is properly implemented, and also to see that the monitor the decision after it has been implemented. These are the various steps, major steps that are followed in the group decision making process. Now, when we say group processes, group decision making is one of the major group processes. Apart from that, there are others group processes like communication, conflict management, and leadership. So all these group processes also have an impact on the group dynamics. So when we say group dynamics, we should understand how the group develops, what are the group types, what is the group behavior. Everything's come under group dynamics. So when we say that the group dynamics refers to the behavior of how the people interact with one another in the group, then it will be divided into the various resources the group people have, what are the various group size. We should understand the group norms, the group roles. We should understand the group cohesiveness, and also understand the various group processes that helps in the functioning of the group. So this is the total understanding of the group dynamics and how this group dynamics is impacted by the various factors. If you have any doubts, go through the topic. I'll be sending you the notes digitally. Go through that. If you have any doubts, contact me. No need to panic. Stay at home, prepare, and finally, thank you for your attention.